Hello and welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. My name is Chris Au and I have with me the co-founder of Virtual Concert Hall's Dr. Anna Ouspenskaya.
Chris, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for joining. It's so great to be back on the show.
Absolutely, and we will be your host for today's show, which is part 8 of the documentary of Beethoven's Symphony No. 8, written and narrated by Lawrence Rapchak, created by New Media Productions Worldwide and Virtual Concert Halls, and produced by the Architects of Music.
And many thanks goes to our collaborators, because these programs have been made possible by our shared passion to sharing the programs and concerts and many events from international musicians, from stages around the world to our audiences around the globe.
And that magical sound is the rapid triplet figure from the main theme. That is continually present in this finale. And now, what began as a distant ethereal procession begins to grow through Beethoven's astounding imagination and technique into a powerful, impassioned march. And the upper and lower voices continually move in contrary motion. This magnificently constructed symphonic arc, which Beethoven has methodically developed step by step from a serene procession into a furious stampede of sound. We're now in D minor, but it's clear that brilliant D major is coming in this big buildup. And the main theme now returns triumphantly in D major. And I'm sure Beethoven would have loved to use the timpani here on A to add power to the orchestra at this big moment. But he can't do it. The timpani are both tuned to octave Fs. But it's worth the wait as the timpani now cap off this great climactic passage like so. Certainly a good way to diffuse the tension as we go bouncing along. We now have entered the final major section of the finale. As you heard, another restatement of the main theme in F major. So here's another quick review of this finale. There's the main exposition, followed by a development section. Then the main exposition returns, complete, giving the impression that it's a recapitulation. Then a second development section, that whole processional, mystical march thing that we've just come through. And now another return of the main material, like in a rondo. And knowing Beethoven, he will not phone it in and just give us another literal repeat of what we've heard before. No way. So fasten your seatbelts. The main theme now cadences, as usual, in C major. And we're hit again by that annoying D flat. Well, we've been blindsided a number of times by this obnoxious, which always leads us then back to F major. Okay, and the implied harmony then would be something like this. That's the way we've always been hearing it. But this time, Beethoven decides to go in an entirely new direction, clearly relishing the humor in this outrageous and daring passage. a massive D flat again, followed now by a fleeting D flat major. Barely audible. Then another massive D flat minor. And it happens very, very quickly. And how about 3 more massive D flats while we're at it? It's like, all right, I heard you the first time. There's lots of musical humor in this symphony, obviously. The second movement like a drawing room comedy. But this is more like a vaudeville pie in the face. But what if Beethoven, in this harmonic free-for-all we've entered, what if he took the tonic F major and kept the middle note, the A, intact, but raises the F and the C, raises them a half step. So it becomes this. Woo, F sharp minor. It's very close to F major on the keyboard, but it's wildly foreign to F major in its sound and its function. So those pounding D flats or C sharps, they now take us so far away from F major, they kind of prepare our ear for this. And the main theme, like so. Where did all of this come from? It seemed like we were headed for another standard repeat of this material, but I told you that Beethoven was not just going to phone it in again. So let's back up now to those big C sharps. And here goes. Beethoven slipped in a very quick Neapolitan chord to keep us off of balance. Here it is. And again, he takes this figure, which we heard as that austere processional a while back. But as you heard now, the music is raging in F sharp minor, and this motive is extended like so. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. And he drives the music forward with boom, boom, boom. And all of this tempest in the orchestra is created with only the strings and the woodwinds. The technical limits of the horns, trumpets, and timpani, the heavy artillery, means that they are on the sidelines while we're in F sharp minor. But in a stunning flash of brilliance, they all enter as Beethoven suddenly reverts from F sharp minor back down a half step. Voila! And F major returns now with horns, trumpets, and timpani to the rescue. So let's hear this entire passage, and I will call it out. The main theme resolves, as always, in C major. Look out! D flat major, D flat minor, and 3 more that plunge us into F sharp minor. The main theme like we've never heard it. And the phrase repeats and drives ahead. And here it comes. F major. And that single measure continues to drive the music. The energy is unstoppable. And our lyrical second theme returns. And a new harmonic progression to add to the fun. With that new swinging cadence. Have we heard that before? No, it's a very common cadence. Now the lyrical second theme is in the cello and bass. But again, the calm is short-lived. Or is it short-lived? Say what? What? A very unique way to get back to F major now for our coda.
Wow. So, I mean, I know you have a question, obviously, but first of all, mine is like, what is Beethoven doing? He's just like turning everything on its head, different keys, different things. Like, I mean, if not for Larry Rapchak, I think we would just be like, with a stunned face. Like, I can imagine the audience is stunned. Like, what is going on?
Exactly, because Beethoven is following the known structures of the music
Yeah.
composition, and then he challenges them and expands the boundaries and makes those structures of the composition kind of show up in the wrong place or with the wrong lead up to it. So always defying the expectation. Now, the expectation is also built on the previous structure leading to a certain point. And I don't know how relevant being knowledgeable about of those structures is to the effect. Maybe it's not even relevant because Beethoven is so skillfully building that anticipation lead up to the next step in the development of this musical structure that you just emotionally connect to it, and then you kind of expect something logical, and then boom, he turns it on its head. But I do have a question to our audience members. And it's a question which I even had for a long time. I have my own answers to it, but I want to hear what Chris
Hmm.
you think about it, and I definitely would like to hear from our audience members. Please just put your comments and your thoughts in the comments on the channel or the platform wherever you're watching this. I'm very curious. Do you think I'm going to backtrack? With the guidance of Larry Rapchak, we saw that there's all those constructions, coming from the thought that music is similar to architecture, is being built out of blocks and, based on architectural composition. So there are all those musical structures like, exposition and then development and then a return of the exposition, which is a false recapitulation, and we're using all these fancy words, but it's basically exposition is where the themes are being for the first time introduced, then development is where the themes are being worked on, and they may appear in different character, in different register, with a different speed and all those things. So development of the themes, and then recapitulation is return of the themes after all the story happened. So all those structures. Now here's my question. It took me a while to get there, but I'm getting there. As a composer, do you think Beethoven was just kind of following his genius and opened the notebook and started writing the symphony from note one and keep going, and then realized that his music fits into all those blocks and structures, and maybe fine-tuned um, uh, some of the presentations within the symphony for the structures to be more defined or identified better, or more effective? Or do you think it happened vice versa? He opened a notebook and basically sketched the whole cathedral, the composition of the building of the symphony or this movement, and then started filling in the building blocks,
Hmm.
so to speak, musical building blocks into the structure, which was, in other words, do you think Beethoven was going from micro to macro or from macro to micro? That's my question.
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, it depends on, I mean, the audience will probably have a different take on this, but I like to kind of liken Beethoven and any great composer to probably someone like to movie making, movie makers who are, and I think Beethoven is simultaneously a director. He is the cinematographer in the sense that he's planning all the way that it looks and feels and sounds. He's also the principal chief editor of the movie, obviously, and the screenwriter. So if he were to win a awards these days, it would be for all those categories at the Oscars, because that's essentially what he did. And if he was still conducting, then of course he would also get that credit.
Lead actor.
Lead actor, yeah, exactly.
And if he was playing some piano parts, then he would be a supporting actor.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. If it was a piano concerto, then he'll win lead actor of the role. And what's fascinating about that is that we don't realize that, I think, as the audience member. What we do as an audience member, especially listen to this for the first time, or even the second, or even the third, is that we just get taken for the ride. As I'm watching a movie, ideally, I don't think the director really wants us to be analytical whilst we're enjoying the movie. There may be some film buffs out there or aspiring directors who might be really trying to analyze as they're watching. But for the average goer, it's an experience, and he's catering an experience for us. And so, even if whichever way he were writing it, micro, macro, etc., I think it's about trying to take the audience member outside of their intellect, and trying to just engage the senses, engage the emotions, engage maybe some of the intellect, and like, oh, that's interesting, what's going on there? But ultimately to experience it. I mean, I have a little hint for our audience members, is that as people may know, he had incredible sketchbooks, like just like crossing things out, rewriting constantly, from the early string quartets to the late works to everything. So there's definitely a sense of having to really build it, like really that doesn't work, throw away that brick, like rebuild that. Maybe it's a bigger piece. That doesn't work. Let's rewrite this whole section. And I think that's, of course, Beethoven is a genius, but it's a really incredible way of seeing the genius at work, that you have to work for the genius. You can't just, I think people kind of attribute this to Mozart, where he can actually just sit down and write something from beginning to end without having to really scratch anything out. And I don't know if that's completely true all the time, but for Beethoven, it's definitely a labor of love, a labor of just reworking. And so that's all I have to add to it. And I think that's what makes him, Beethoven, so human as well.
Yeah, that's an incredible take, Chris. Very insightful. And I want to reiterate that we are looking forward to getting some comments from our audience members. And even if you will tackle a question, is it even relevant? Does it even matter what Beethoven did and how he approached the composition? So just something, food for imagination and for exploring further. To me, that's a very interesting topic, because the composer role is at the core, at the seed, at the beginning of any musical composition, and then come we performers, and the further we can go kind of downward or backward to that seed, I think the better sense of direction for building our own interpretation. And I'm using the word building the interpretation on purpose, because the interpretation is also partially intuitive, partially based on your experience, and so forth, but partially, of course, is an intellectual approach. It requires building, because if you just feel every phrase and just go with a gut feeling, they all are going to be, they're not going to be structured. In other words, there's not going to be a story unfolding. There's just going to be an emotional wreck.
Well, absolutely. I mean, if it's like kind of cooking. If you're, I know you're supposed to season throughout as you're cooking, but if you imagine every ingredient and season it like to the most supreme thing, and then you add another ingredient, and you also make that season to the most maximum, then you put it all together, it might actually be too salty, or it may be too, it may blend well, it may not blend well at all.
Some spices might get in conflict with each other.
Absolutely. You need something to be bland so that you can highlight something else. You need something to be a little bit less so that other things can be more. And I think that's the same for any interpretation. some certain phrases may be really beautiful in isolation, but together it has to make sense as a whole. I think that's something that's like difficult for a lot of us younger musicians to learn, because everything when you're practicing it just seems so remarkable. And when you have more experience, you realize that it is beautiful, but it's not necessary to hold it so close or to make such a big deal out of it. And then what's beautiful is something as a whole. It's a kind of like going to a forest and seeing everything in its beauty as a whole, as opposed to just admiring each leaf at a time and pointing out how beautiful this leaf is compared to that leaf, and missing the whole tree, missing the whole forest, missing the whole path of it. And I think that's an experience thing. And I think as an audience member, well, I've heard a lot of audience members talk to me about this, that a lot of them just close their eyes and let the music just wash over them, sort of if they were going to, I don't know, they're just bathing in it, and they don't need so much of this information about what the analysis of it all, or they want maybe to know a story about it, like what is this music about, and then they just let it wash over them. And that's a very interesting way, because us performers always want to sort of like tell you every little beautiful thing as well about it, and I think Larry does it so vividly and so incredibly. And then I hear audience members like, I don't really care for that. It's okay. Like, just play something beautiful. I'll enjoy it. It's great. I'm like, huh.
Well, that's a very good direction. However, as a performer, I've heard this a lot of times, and I even, at least I claim, that sometimes I can just plug out all of the professional knowledge and experience and just let the music wash. And here's what
Yeah.
I noticed when I'm listening. Here's what I noticed about myself and actually about the audience. That's a very good sort of meditative, recreational way of consuming music. But if the performer or the composer had not hit the bingo with how that music is composed or how it is performed and how the interpretation of the performer blends with intentions of the composer, then those hidden undercurrent conflicts and tensions and frictions communicate to the audience members as the washing process being kind of polluted with rocks and bumps, and people
Yeah.
just get distracted,
Yeah.
or they get bored,
Yeah.
or they get they open their phone and start looking for messages and that kind of stuff. So you kind of need to hit a very complex point of balance and organic working together of many different elements in the back end for people to even be able to sit down and let the music wash over them.
Yeah, so I'm just imagining, like, for us as performers, like a solo piano recital, how difficult that is to nail in terms of the concentration, the focus, but also the knowledge of the score and knowledge of the composer's intentions, and then interpreting it and making it visible and audible to the audience. But imagine if you have to do that with the whole orchestra, like how much of a figure the conductor must be in order to instill that sort of musical purpose within all the performers, and they're all on the same page. Everybody has the same mission. It's sort of like an army of with a single goal, and I think that's like a really incredible way to. That's why, and what's also amazing about it is that some of these great performances we don't capture live. It's or even if we do capture it on recording, it's never the same. It's always just so fleeting. It just disappears, and then you're gonna try again next time, and then the next time maybe the horn is not feeling good, didn't have a good night's sleep, or the woodwinds are like the reeds are too dry, and like they're cracking and things aren't right, and so
Yeah,
it
that
takes
just distracts you, right?
so much to create the right conditions for like a perfect beautiful performance, that everything, as you said, is aligned and balanced and quote unquote perfect. It's hard, but I think
Yeah.
it's a very interesting thought process, as
Yeah.
performers and as an audience. So
And I have another topic which I am going to hold on to until our next show, because I think we're getting to the limit where the director is going to start sending us red flags. Guys, you're going over time.
No, it's all good. So we'll save it for next time. Very good. And so I want to give a big thanks to our sponsors and our supporters and our collaborators. Thank you for joining us today, those who are watching. And we have such incredible shows and collaborators who have worked with us. Virtual concert halls is something that is very dear to our hearts because it's a way for more audience members to interact on social media and listen to great music live, and to also host a variety of different organizations. So if you're interested, please join us on our journey. This is our Beethoven's Symphony series. We've done many Beethoven's symphonies, and we're finishing the 8th at the moment. And I want to make sure we thank our team as well, our team who has been behind the scenes making sure everything happens. And it's a pleasure to work with them, but also to be a part of this incredible organization.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, team. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, our collaborators. And I want to mention also that now you can also catch our Beethoven series on fast TV channels. Those are free ad-supported television, and that you can turn on your Roku or Amazon Prime or whatever one you're using on your smart TV. And these programs will be on your big screen and great resolution. And we are very, very grateful for this new development. And see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next time for part 9 and the finale of our Beethoven Symphony No. 8 documentary series. See you then. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.